Well, hello YouTube, this is Retta, and I'm going to go over some of the decks that I'll be using in the next few months. I like to switch my decks out, but keep in mind that I've been on like a minimalistic kick lately, so we'll see how it goes. I've been with decks that are less is more, but we'll see how these are ones that I've wanted to work with. And some that I've been working with and I'll continue to work with because I just can't let them go. So I don't know how long. I'm going to try to do each video at 15 minutes, less than 15 minutes a piece. So I might have 1 and 2. And I'm also going to have probably some rants. So all the people who dumbs down, you might as well not, watch the rest of this, because I have my opinion, and if any of you guys are my Facebook friends, I have my opinion on things. I'm not afraid to share my opinions, and that's just it. So I'm not, and a lot of things have changed this year, so I'll get into that. But here we go. These are the ones. So, of course, I have to get my Antiquarian deck. I've talked about this. This is one of my favorite decks to read Beyond the Veil. I have to use the big one. I have a separate deck, another copy, but I can't read with the other copy, which is funny. So this is my Antiquarian deck, which I love, and I'll be using this one for all my, the other side readings, Beyond the Veil. And then I like to use it with 1 or 2 cards from this deck, which I'm not a very big Doreen Virtue fan. I have a few of her decks, but I'm not really a great fan of hers. But this deck, I really do like to use it. It's Messages from Beyond. It's with James Van Prague and Doreen Virtue, and I pull 1 or 2 of these cards when I'm doing it. So if you see this, it's like, don't be afraid. I've had some really awesome readings combining this with the tarot. I'm sending you love and signs through nature. So it's just a little there is no such thing as death. I had to leave that way, and I'm sorry, please forgive me. I feel healthy and happy. So these are like messages from your loved ones, in a couple of words. I'm just a thought away. So I like to reuse these 2 decks together. So whoops, I'm dropping stuff. I have so much stuff. And then look at this beautiful, this is old, I've had it for a few years now, but Curly Sue, she makes my favorite steampunk tarot on Etsy. She used to make these of silk, these beautiful cloths, and I have a whole bunch of them. So it's the Celtic Cross, but I like to wrap my Antiquarian Tarot through there. Of course, I have my Tarot of the Bastard, which I've shown you guys. This one goes in my purse. So it's waterproof, and there's another Curly Sue cloth. Isn't it beautiful that I wrap it up in? Okay, so let's get to the deck that I'll be studying, really studying for in the next few months is the Tarot of the Holy Lights. So I have the book. I've talked about a lot of times, I learned tarot first through Thoth, the Thoth system. And the Rider-Waite system took me a long time to really get the hang of, especially when you come from Thoth. The Rider-Waite system was really tough for me to get, especially I had the decks at the time. I didn't appreciate the original Pamela Coleman deck, and I didn't really respond to the pictures in there. Now I have their decks, and I love it. But at the time, I didn't find myself in the images. I couldn't use my imagination to help with the reading back then. So I can see a lot of people who are starting to learn tarot have a hard time learning it with one of them decks. So that's why I always tell them to find an updated version of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. But this is the tarot. Here's the back of it, of the Holy Lights. It's very Thoth-like, very esoteric, right on my alley, and with the symbolisms. So it's beautiful cardstock. It's linen. Or, I don't know if it's linen. It's like really nice. But if you see, a lot of people, this deck I'll learn for myself, and I'll use it for readings for myself, or for like email readings and stuff, or somebody who also enjoys esoteric. I'll use this reading for them. But really, this is just my love of tarot, and I want to learn this. So it's a beautiful, beautiful deck, the Tarot of the Holy Lights. And it's got a nice, big, thick book that I'm going to enjoy getting down. I mean, it's really, how many pages is this book? I don't even want to, like over 400. So that's a self-published deck. So, okay. So I'm going to read with that. Let's see what minutes we're on. 5. Okay, so I'm also going to, like I said, I love the simplicity of these decks lately. I'm going to use the Pagan Worlds. This is my first time using it. I've had it since it came out. I actually wanted to buy another copy of this to have two, but I've had bad luck with buying a second copy of decks, because I'll buy the new copy and I don't bond with the new copy like I have bonded with the old copy. I don't know if it's the different energies. I don't know. So that's what's holding me back from buying it. But this deck, look at the back. The cardstock is beautiful linen too. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful, look at the star. Beautiful, beautiful. I'm hoping that you can. It's just very beautiful. And it's very simple. Where the major arcana has kind of like, but the minor arcana is very simple. So I'm going to start doing a lot of readings with these. So this is the Pagan Otherworlds, and the cardstock is gorgeous. Okay, of course, I can't get rid of my New Paladina. It's like my must-have deck. It's a deck that I've just bonded with. I love. It's simple, and it's funny because they have a different deck called the Antiquarian too. I think it's, I forgot, the Aquarium Tarot, and I have it, but I haven't bonded with it or really like took to it like I did this New Paladina. So of course this deck is going to continue to be on my reading table. Okay, so I also am going to use this Victorian Romantic Tarot from Baba Studios. I already had this deck. I've had a few of their decks, but there was a problem this summer with Baba Studios with, what was that deck? I haven't even opened it because I had such a horrible experience. What was the deck that she had? The Prague deck. And I waited 4 days, stayed up all weekend, overnight, and a lot of my friends will know we had this thing, stay up all night to try to get this deck. I spent over $400 on the order. Like $400. And I got the decks, I got some bags and a whole bunch, but I had a horrible experience with Baba Studios. And I will never buy, even though she has some beautiful decks, I will never buy another deck. I'll have the ones that I have already, which is like the Gothic, the Alice Tarot, all those. The Prague, I haven't even opened. Now that's bad because I am a tarot fanatic, and I haven't even opened up my Prague. I don't even know where they are. I just put them aside, didn't even open them up because the experience was just so horrific and I was so disgusted. So I haven't had a chance, but the decks I've already had, I'll continue to use. So, and the decks are beautiful, but you know, you expect when you're spending lots of money, and Baba Studios decks are beautiful, but they're expensive, and you expect a certain kind of, you know, customer service, and I'm paying my money for my tarot decks, and they mean a lot to me. And don't act like you're doing me a favor when I'm spending my hard-earned cash on a deck. I don't appreciate that. I understand that this is your artwork, these are your babies, but you can't just talk and treat people the way that you do. So I've really been turned off from Baba Studios forever. And so it doesn't stop the fact that these decks I've already had. So I'll be turning in my Tarot of Delphi which I love for relationship readings for this one of the Victorian Romance. And it's beautiful. Alright, so I'm going to end this video and then I'm going to start number 2.